All right. Hey, everybody. It's Cathy Alessandra, and we are here with Coffee Talk with Cathy on Thursday morning. Excited to have you here with us and joining us again. So, this is something that's taking place every Thursday morning right here at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern time, where I'm interviewing amazing women who are doing fabulous things who can support you in your business. So, the idea here is to get a little inspiration, learn a couple tips or two, and then move on with your day and your week. So today I have Bibi Goldstein, who you may know if you follow me for any length of time, is a very special dear friend. We have traveled together, we do events together. Oh, heck, this past weekend we even got together with the significant others. So there is definitely a relationship there, but it goes beyond that. We actually first met in the business arena. Oh my gosh, like what? 15, 16 years ago, something like that, Phoebe.
Yeah, it was 2008.
Yeah, it's been a minute or two. So, for those of the listeners who don't know who you are and what you do, can you share a little bit about Buying Time Services and what you do?
Sure. So, Buying Time is a virtual assistant service. We are a small group of women, 100% women right now. um, and we are focused on supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs in those areas that are overwhelming to them. It could be marketing, it could be administrative, all the way through to putting on live events, right? So we do everything from answering customer service emails or simple things, email marketing, social media posting, website content updates, through to bookkeeping and on to helping them help support them at events. The whole concept around it is that we can be someone's complete and full back office.
Which I love, and I do take advantage of that. Virtual assistant services, bookkeeping services, and the upcoming Yes I Can experience event services. And that's not just this time. Buying Time has handled events for me in the past, and I mean, you've got some huge events coming up, not mine, but some really big events coming up in 2023. So that's what we wanted to talk about today, because, or I wanted to talk to you about and share with everybody, not only my event, but just this idea of getting back in the room, that people are getting back out, that it's time to be in person, what a difference it makes being in person with the energy and all that. And then, why you would attend an event and what you need to do, right? And then why would you host an event? Is it, it's big and it's hairy and it's scary to host an event, but there can be so many benefits and positivity that comes out of that. So let's start with the idea of attending events. What are some tips maybe you could share with the listeners on? I mean, you and I have been to hundreds of events. What are some things that you suggest to somebody who's attending an event and what they need to look for or consider?
Well, I think that, for this conversation, I think that the main thing that's really important in all of this is knowing what your goal is going in, right? Know that, are you going in because you need connection again, because we're coming back together and you need something live where you're actually like seeing someone's face and their entire body and they're fully dressed and not just on a screen, right? Or give somebody a hug. Know that if you're going for inspiration, if you need that extra, like, I don't have anything that's kind of keeping me inspired to go to that next place. If you require motivation, if you're looking to learn something, like, really just know that when you are signing up for an event, it's really about what do you need going into it. Okay. I also I'm encouraging everybody, especially this year, just go. Even if you don't like really have a clear idea yet of what you want going into it, like, and you have just even an inkling that I need a little connection, I need some inspiration, I do want to learn something, right? Just if you have that desire, go. Especially because as you kind of we get back into the being in person and everybody feels comfortable in what they're able to get from an event, you may go with a goal of being inspired and you may find that you are so full from all that connection that it makes it that much more worthwhile, right? It's always, being cautious of, how many do you want to do budget wise? But honestly, when it was in the heyday of events, I would say that, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that you and I would probably go at least once every 45 to 60 days to something.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And those were like one-off events. I mean, there's even the ones that, I mean, just being back in the room with even networking events, right? If you're choosing a
Right.
networking event to attend, and again, I think that same idea. What's the purpose? Who's the tribe? What are you doing? And I love this idea, and I've talked about this previously, right? This idea of setting an intention. When you're going to an event, set an intention of who
Yeah.
you want to meet, what you want to get from it. Just so it's an intention, not an expectation necessarily, right? Because
Yep.
right, you got to have open, you got to
Exactly.
have those, you got to come with open hands, right? And what is it I'm meant to get, whom I'm meant to meet, and yes, my intention is to meet a collaborative partner or to learn something new on social media or content creation or whatever it is. So set that intention. But I think it's important to I like what you said, just having that idea and the energy, right? When you get around other entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
there is electricity that goes through that room that you cannot get on this Zoom. I love Zoom. I love StreamYard. I love all the video tools we have,
Mhm.
but there is electricity in a room that you cannot get unless you
Nope.
were in the room with other people. And
Nope. You can't.
that, right? No, totally.
You can't.
All right.
And
So
that's important, especially when you're talking about like that openness, right? That energy. If you go in there with your arms folded, that's the energy that's going to come back to you. If you go in there with the, tell me why I'm here instead of this is the intention that I have. So I love that. 100%. You're correct.
So true. So what about doing an event? I'm guessing a lot of the people that are listening are, entrepreneurs, and maybe they've thought about doing an event, maybe a small workshop, or, maybe a larger thing. I mean, heck, prior to this, prior to COVID, we used to do the Success Summit, and that was like 250 people in the room at a time. And I'm not jumping in quite that far, but why would somebody think about doing an event in their own business?
Well, I think that there's a lot of reasons why someone would think about doing an event, but again, it's the same thing as setting an intention, right? What is the intention? Is your intention sales? Are you selling a program at the end of the event? Is your intention for marketing? Some folks do events that are simply truly for exposure and marketing. Is your intention to create an inspirational environment? You're doing something that's nonprofit based. There's a lot of different things. I mean, I've seen lots of big name folks in the business world do in events that are geared towards nonprofits and raising money towards nonprofits, but it's them presenting, it's them in front of everybody. And that's one of the things that we talk about often is that if it's your event, you want to be very clear when you're going into that. Is this your event to showcase you, or is this your event to showcase somebody else, right? It's how many other people are you allowing into your energy and into your stage, into your space, in order to take away from what it is that you want to teach. So, and that's the other thing. Some folks, it's just because they want to teach. They want to teach. There's no sale at the end. There's nothing. It is, you are paying for a educational experience. So you have to decide as a business owner or as an individual. I've seen lots of people who are putting these events on. It's really important that you know what your intention is going into it.
Yeah, I think that's so important, right? I mean, whether it's just a networking event, and I've done those where it's just a luncheon, where everybody's getting together and reconnecting and the collaboration, but there is something to be said about being the person at the front of the room and the credibility that builds, the visibility and the credibility that builds, whether you're just teaching all day, whether you do have some people on the stage. I love what you said there, because you really do need to think about what is that. And not only that, what they're bringing, but what their energy is, what they stand for. Are they in alignment with who you are? Right. All those things.
Yeah.
So, and when I first started doing these, they were small workshops, 12 people in a room, 20 years ago. And so I think it's just, I love this idea of, what is that end goal? Who do you want to have in the room? What are you trying to accomplish with it? Right. And just bringing people together. And I think it becomes, I think it's easy these days to say, well, I think since COVID, it's been easier for people to say, I'm not going to go. Oh, I'm not going to write. But there's something about that, showing up is half the battle, right? We got to show up. And then, that energy and are you willing to put out and do the work that we need to do to kind of meet some new people and get in some new circles and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. And I think that the more that you show up, you recognize that it's not just about you, and it's about the fact that somebody else in that room may need to meet you that day. Somebody else in that room, might need what you're offering. Somebody else in that room maybe just needs your energy or needed your hug that day. I mean, I think that if we go into some of the things in a very simplistic way, if it was just about being on a stage and being in front of people, then everybody would be actors or be, something that puts the spotlight on them, right? Sometimes, and I know that in your case, in almost all the events that I have been privileged to be a part of, that you have put on, you have been able to, it's about that giving back, right? It's about that, what are you taking from your own experience and giving back to that audience? So I think that a lot of times, even as audience members, for us to remember the amount of energy it takes for someone to pour into you and to give you all of them and to give you their story, to give you, something that might create so much vulnerability for them, but it's something you needed to hear that day. And I know that people talk about FOMO all the time, but I really truly got to a point with live events, where I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to miss out on that one nugget that I could get. That one nugget that is going to change the trajectory of my life, like it did at the very first live event I did, which was yours.
Yeah,
I had that speaker who came out and had that Think and Grow Rich book in their hand,
right.
and it was wound up in rubber bands and had all these things, and I just wanted to know what that book was,
right.
that book was, and it changed my life. Here we are 16 years later.
Yeah. You just never know. You never know the person. You don't know the circumstance or the moment or the book or the speaker or whatever. And it may be something you've heard before, but you're in that moment. You're in that right moment for your brain, your heart, your head to actually hear it and connect to what the transformation is going to be for you. I love that, Bibi.
100%.
Speaking of transformation, real quick, let's ask, just kind of as we're wrapping up here, because I know you do various things, and it's important to me to share with others, where do you find your inspiration to keep going day in and day out? Is there something that you read? Is there something you do for inspiration?
I think that the only way to answer this question is that I don't look for inspiration. I have so many incredible people like you, other girlfriends, my mentor, that are in my life, my husband, that you can look to and find inspiration if you are open to it. And that doesn't mean that every day that inspiration is there, right? It's that we're paying attention. We're saying, not out of envy that I want to be like that, but I want to I'm inspired to be more like that. Right?
Yeah.
I love reading. And I kind of got to business books a lot more, and I've gotten more into the fiction lately, and trying to really just kind of get to who I am. But I honestly, the things, the people, who I admire are my inspiration, and they're the people that I have immediate contact with every day.
Yeah, I love that. It's so important. So important. So let me just ask you a final question as we wrap up the interview, and you probably know what it is because I ask it with everybody. What makes you a yes, I can woman?
Well, I'm going to steal one of your lines, and that is that I am very, very careful in making sure that I have enough abundant no's in my life to create the space to be able to say yes to the things that I want to do instead of the things that I have to do.
Yeah, I love that. Those strategic yeses that are the things that we want to do. Yeah, that means so much. I love it. Bibi, thank you so much for sharing both sides of the event world with us and giving a couple of tips on all that. If you are wondering what event we're talking about, maybe you haven't heard, the Yes I Can Experience. It's an experiential business conference coming up for entrepreneurs March 16th here in the Los Angeles area. It's a full day conference with all kinds of building tips and tools. We've got somebody speaking on brand, marketable brand. We're talking about content creation. We're talking about marketing strategy. We're going to be talking a little bit about finance, and how we pull it all together in that work-life balance and why we're doing what we're doing. Why is it important to us? Because that's really what makes us tick. The bottom line. So anyway, March 16th, there'll be a link in some of this, and or you can find it on my page. Thank you so much for joining us for Coffee Talk. Whatever beverage you're having at that time of the day, I will hope you grab it again next Thursday and join us for next week's interview as well. If you would like to be one of the people interviewed, if you've got something to share that's important for other entrepreneurs, reach out, PM me, let me know, and we'll see if we can't get you on Coffee Talk too. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.